Hey friends, welcome back. This is episode number 33, and as you can see, we have Tori and our main team back with us. How's it been, Tori? Tori's nodding at us, ready to go, I assume. It does feel good to have our main team with us again after a little bit of a break. I've enjoyed training up our secondary team, but these guys are a lot of fun as well. Switch out a few hull items, as you can tell, but before we get started, I do want to actually switch out one more held item, if I can find it. Yeah, splash plate. So we will give that to Tori, since Tori is our resident water type and has water type stab attacks, in this case Surf. One day Waterfall once I get the TM for Waterfall, not sure where that is, but Surf will do just fine for now. And okay, TMs. So we have a few TMs saved up that I would like to teach. Wind is going to be another Pokemon that learns Stone Edge. I really like U-Turn, but I feel like Stone Edge is just going to be better in the long run. It has better type coverage than U-Turn does. Yeah, I don't want to delete any of our other moves. We have our 2 stab attacks, and Grass Knot is a really great coverage move against water and ground and rock. I guess fighting is also good against rock, but yeah, Grass is kind of too useful to give up, especially with how many water types there are. So, as much as I've enjoyed using U-Turn, I think we've had our fun. Now it's time to get serious as we get towards the end of the game. Well, maybe not the end of the game, but the latter half of the game, I'll say. And honestly, we really probably won't need much of these moves until like the post game, or at least the Pokemon League. But we can start getting used to them now. Wind could learn Will-O-Wisp, but doesn't really have a slot for it. Ace could learn Energy Ball, but Ace is more of a physical attacker, so I wouldn't teach a Leafeon Energy Ball. But X-Scissor is a physical attack, and it is one of the few coverage moves available to Leafeon. Leafeon is fairly limited in its options here. So actually, we're going to almost have Leafeon's final moveset after this. We've been lucky in that we've been able to get a lot of really good items fairly early on in this game, in part because of the Crane Underground, but even before that. I also got somewhere, I don't remember where, it might have been on screen, yeah, it was on screen, it was in the Iron Island. We found Iron Tail, there it is. Team 23, I should have known that. And that's a move that a lot of Pokemon can learn. It's a 100 base power, 75% accuracy move, as you can see there. I think it can lower defense. I guess we'll see in a second. But, yeah, because Ace doesn't have too many options, I'm going to give that one to Ace. Also, Steel is not really a great coverage type. It's only good against like Ice, Rock, and Fairy types. And we already know Grass moves for Rock types. But if we encounter some Fairy types, or some Ice types, it could definitely have its uses. Alright, so let me just go through the list here. We did the Water Plate, we did X-Scissor, we did Iron Tail. I think we should now be good to go. And we have Tori at the front of the party. I might switch back to Tom at some point, because Tom could definitely use a little bit more XP. But, yeah, I'll use a Repel. I'm guessing there aren't many interesting Pokemon on these routes, or in the Sinnoh decks in general. I go everywhere with my Noctowl. We're going to show you our best. Ha. I guess like our best. That's a bit of a stretch. From somebody who really likes and appreciates good puns, that's a stretch. And what do you know? She has a Noctowl. Never would have guessed that. Yeah, but I do miss, Tori and some of the other classic Pokemon, so I figure we'll use them just for something a little bit different. And as you can see, our coverage attacks are already paying off. So I definitely recommend not teaching, like, if you have an Infernape, don't teach it, like, 4 different fire type attacks, because, is there a scenario where you might use Fire Blast over Flamethrower to get some extra damage? Sure, but in most cases, Flamethrower is going to do the trick, or Flare Blitz. So it's much better, in my opinion, to get different coverage moves than it is multiple moves of the same type. Now there are exceptions, like I said. Every rule there are always exceptions. Like Luxray doesn't really have too many good coverage attacks. Actually, I do want to get a second Iron Tail TM for him, but I think I have to find that in the underground if I get lucky at some point. Don't think we can face these two at the same time. I'm strong, 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 I'm strong. Am I really? No, I am strong, I'm strong. Okay, all good to go. I'm guessing he's going to give us a TM. It is 77. What is that, like metronome or mimic or what is? It is. It raises. Oh, it's Psych Up. Okay. Yes. So that's actually a really good move in competitive battling. But we're not going to use it in game because how often do our opponents really use stat increasing moves, and how often would we really be able to copy them? Um, During, I guess it was Generation 6, the online double battle, competitive battling, like in the World Tournament. Um, the Pokemon Xerneas was very popular because it knew the move Geomancy, which increases your special attack, special attack, special defense, and speed by 2 stages each, so essentially doubling all of them in a single turn. Normally it takes 2 turns of charging, but with the White Herb, it can do it in a single turn. So that became a very powerful strategy. You pretty much either had to have a Xerneas on your team or a really good counter for Xerneas. And there were some folks who had the strategy of using Lunala, which could learn Psych Up and was very powerful because of its, I think it's called Shadow Shield ability. It's basically the same as Dragonite's multi-scale ability, which is that if your Pokemon is at max HP, whenever it's attacked, it takes half damage from that first attack. So that's pretty cool because, you know, it could survive. It could allow Pokemon to survive. I think I see a Ninja Boy up here. Many attacks they otherwise would not have survived, or at least, or if it would have survived them anyway, then survive them with a lot more HP. So definitely a very good ability, especially if you use like Rooster, a healing move, or Moonlight, and you could get back up to 100% HP. But yeah, so some folks had the bright idea to use Psych Up on Lunala, and what's really cool about that is, one, you could use it to copy an enemy Xerneas' Geomancy stat boost, and then you suddenly have a really powerful Lunala on your team. But if you pair it up, because you're allowed to have 2 restricted Pokemon, so like 2 legendaries essentially, or 2 Ubers, I guess is a better way to say it. Some legendaries are not like overpowered, but some like Lunala and Xerneas definitely are, and therefore you're limited with how many you can have in competitive battling. Some years it's none, some years it's like 2. But the strategy was that you could use Psych Up not only on your opponent's powered up Xerneas, but if you had your own Xerneas, because remember it's a double battle, so if you have Xerneas and Lunala out at the same time, and your Xerneas uses Geomancy, and then you Psych Up against your own Xerneas, you pretty much won the game, because you have 2 Pokemon that are incredibly powerful, both with double special attack, double special defense, and double speed. Like, that's hard to beat. So it was actually a very cool, very powerful strategy. We have a repel, so... Oh, okay, let's face this guy. And we'll head into the cave. Haha, I'm psyched for this. Here goes. Okay, this should be fun, because I really love these longer routes, because... I don't really know why. It just reminds me of like a real adventure with your Pokemon. You're far from civilization. There are no Pokemon centers, no Pokemarts to stop at. Just you and your Pokemon and all of the challenges before you. Wild Blue yonder. Alright, so Krogunk might have dry skin, but let's go for it. See how good this surf does. Okay, good. Yeah, I wasn't sure any of other moves would have knocked it out, so I wanted to be a little bit risky there. To be honest, that's actually something I like in most video games. The parts where you're not like near civilization, you're not near a center where you can just like heal up, or a base camp or a node or something. I like when you're really on an adventure and it's just you and your team, whether that's an RPG with different characters or a Pokemon game with your team of Pokemon, and there's no help around. Maybe there's a little lady in a cabin with your Pokemon at some point. But it still kind of has that feeling of being like a real adventure with your Pokemon. Also, if you guys have played like Dragon Age, the Deep Roads mission, which a lot of people are like, oh, it's so long, but that's one of my favorite missions because it feels like you're going through an adventure, like Lord of the Rings, where they don't stop at a new town every 10 minutes. Like, I mean, yes, there's like Rivendell and all, but it takes them a while to get there first, and especially in the books too, where it's like months of journeying. When you go through either a route like this or a dungeon like the Deep Roads in Dragon Age, it really kind of feels like that, like Lord of the Rings style classic adventure. And a tiny mushroom, look at that. Alright, so we are here in Mount Coronet. Escape rope, that might come in handy at some point. I'm not sure if we've been in this part before or not. Let's go ahead and use strength. And I want to see just basically what we can explore. I probably don't need to go too far south yet, because I think we'll have more time to explore it a little bit later on in the game. Yep, can't go that way. If I push the boulder all the way down, it would just block our path, so no reason to keep doing that. And Mount Coronet is also like absurdly large, which is cool because it's like the defining geographical feature of Sinnoh, so I like that. So we'll see. I'll spend a little bit of time exploring it, but I don't want to spend like the rest of my life here in Mount Coronet. Like I do want to get on with heading north to Snow Point, and I'm sure there'll be more cool trainers in more ways than one along the way. Actually, in more ways than two, because there will be ace trainers, formerly known as cool trainers. It's a cold route, so the trainers there will be cool trainers, and they'll just be cool because they'll have some cool Pokemon. So, how do you guys like that? Oh, what was that item up there? It might be a useful item. Oh, it's foggy. Luckily, we have our Poketch, and we can use defog. Now, full disclaimer here: I have no idea which way is the right way to go. We're gonna wander around, I think, and if we find the right way, then that's great. We'll keep going. If we find the wrong way, we'll find some cool items. Maybe some trainers in here. I don't remember if there are any trainers in here or not. Ah, rare candy. I will take that. Save it in our back pocket, for a little later on. We should call them pockets instead of back pocket. Just a new portmanteau. Is that the right word? When you merge things together. Alright, let's use some defog. We're definitely expanding our collection of TMs there. Only 2 more to go. Waterfall and Rock Climb, I believe, are the last 2. Although, is Waterfall in this game? I don't know. It might just be Rock Climb, but it could be Waterfall. Stardust. That's just an item you can sell to vendors for some cash. Hopefully we brought enough repels. I don't know where to go. Which one's the right one? Which one's the wrong one? Where are the cool items? We are on a new floor of the caves. We have to reuse strength. Yeah. Well, there are definitely some changes about this game that I've complained about and don't love. Like the XP on the affection mechanics, for example. I do really love the HM Poketch change. That's a good quality of life change. So I appreciate that. There have definitely been a few quality of life changes I like. I also don't mind the TM change. At first I was a little bit unsure, but because it seems like you can get duplicates of all the TMs just by farming the Grand Underground, I actually think it makes sense to do it this way. Because otherwise it wouldn't really give you a motivation to play in the Grand Underground, which is kind of a fun little mini game. And it's more fun when you actually have things to like go for. Like if I was just doing it for fun, I mean, yeah, I feel like guilty like if I was just sitting there playing the mining game all day. But because I can say like, well, I want, stone edges and earthquakes, and who knows what I'm going to need all these orbs for. And a secret base at some point, I can kind of justify it for that, so. I do like that there are actually real rewards to work for, and not just like rewards that you're not really going to need. Yeah, Mount Coronet is probably one of the biggest like areas in any Pokemon game. There's just tons of levels with all different HM uses. Light Clay, that increases the duration of shield moves, for lack of a better term. There might be a better term. Basically Light Screen, Reflect, and Aurora Veil. Not to be confused with Air Veil. Reflect is a move, if I haven't mentioned already, that halves the damage your team takes from physical attacks for 5 turns. We probably encountered it even if I haven't mentioned it. Light Screen does the same thing but for special attacks for 5 turns. And Aurora Veil is both, but can only be used in Hail. So it's actually really useful in competitive battling, but you have to have a Pokemon like a Alolan Ninetales, which is really popular because it sets up Hail with its ability automatically. Alright, I think we actually made it the right direction, so that might save us some time. Hey, full heal. So you sort of get a sense of where things go. But with the Light Clay, those moves all last for 8 turns instead of 5. So if you had an Alolan Ninetales with Light Clay, you send it in, it's fairly fast, and on its first turn, oh look at the skiers. That'll be fun to face. You could use Aurora Veil on your first turn, and suddenly you have this great shield where all your Pokemon are taking half damage from pretty much any move for 8 turns. That's hard to come back from. You actually started seeing moves like Brick Break or Defog become popular to get rid of the Aurora Veil without waiting it out. Especially in a double battle, which tend to be pretty short. Like if you get up a nice long Aurora Veil, then, I mean, that could be the entire battle right there. Alright, well, Lopunny is not an ice type, but it kind of makes sense for a skier to have it, because I feel like it's got like its fur coat there, so kind of matches the parka of the ace trainer. Is it an ace trainer or a skier? I actually didn't notice. They're kind of the same thing almost. I guess not really. I guess skiers do tend to use like more ice types. This might be an ace trainer. I'm trying to remember what ice types are in this game. Obviously there's Snover and Abomasnow. Oh, Low Kick. Who is learning Low Kick? I totally missed it. Let's see who it is. Okay. Ooh. You know, guys, I think it might be time to get rid of Dynamic Punch. It's been a lot of fun. Low Kick is sort of like Grass Knot in a way. It does more against heavier Pokemon. And I feel like now that we're kind of fighting off against more evolved Pokemon that tend to be heavier, plus the accuracy of Low Kick, yeah, it's been fun, but I think we've had our fun with Dynamic Punch. Now it's time to go with some better moves. We won't keep Low Kick forever. Actually, with like Brick Break, because Brick Break is a little more reliable. Only 75 base power, which is a little bit low for my taste, but I think it's better than Focus Blast, which has a big chance of missing. And Brick Break will be based off Electivire's higher attack stat. Now for Electabuzz, Focus Blast might be useful. So who knows, maybe I'll stop by the department store and get Focus Blast for a little while, replace Low Kick, but honestly we're not going to use that move too much anyway. It's not our stab attack, so I probably shouldn't worry about it too much. But like I said, half the fun for me is team building and making a team with good, strong, diverse moves so that they're ready for any situation. Alright, well, Golduck, for whatever reason, it's not giving us the recommendations there, but Water and Ice are not good against Golduck, so Bite and Rock Tomb will be the way to go. We are already faster, and Rock Tomb is not super accurate, so I'm going to use Bite. Plus we have the chance at a flinch due to Bite. Hey, there we go. Speaking of flinch. Yeah, so it is hailing here, and we do not have any ice types on our main team. I don't get too many chances to use ice types, but we do have Piloswine, which will eventually be Mamoswine, which is pretty cool. If I had planned this better, I might have used Piloswine on this route, because not only does he not take damage from hail, because being ice type, but also his ability Snow Cloak means he gets 20% free evasion during hail. Also, what do you know? Waterfall. So even though Surf has a higher base power, there are two reasons Waterfall is better in this case. One is it has a flinch chance, whereas Surf has no secondary effect. Also in double battles, Surf is split, which can be good or bad, but probably bad in most cases. I don't remember, I think Surf affects all 3 Pokemon. At one point it affected just the opponent Pokemon, but they switched it. I can't remember which way they switched it, but I think it was the other way. But also, in this case, we have 107 attack and only 85 special attack, so if you did the math there, I'm pretty sure Waterfall would actually do more damage than Surf, even in a single battle, plus the flinch chance on top of it. And both moves would do extra damage due to our splash plates, so that's pretty cool. Pseudo Widow. Alright, interesting Pokemon, but we have a few moves that are super effective against Pseudo Widow. Actually, no, we don't. We just have Waterfall. I lied. Because Pseudo Widow is just Rock type, not Rock and Ground. In fact, I think Pseudo Widow was the very first all-Rock type to be added to a game. Most of the Rock types from Gen 1, like I said, Giga Drain is not going to be good for a Leafeon because Leafeon has low special attack stat. I'd rather have Bullet Seed or Seed Bomb or Leaf Blade, something more like that. Yeah, so Geodude's line, Onix, Rhyhorn, they were all Rock and Ground or Ground and Rock. Aerodactyl was Rock and Flying. Omanite and Kabuto were Rock and Water. And I want to say that's all the Rock types in Gen 1. I already said Rhyhorn and Rhydon. Yeah, that should be it. Agility, we're already pretty fast. I'm not sure we need agility. I'd rather save the move slots for attacking moves. How disappointing. Now, there may be times when we're in the Pokemon League where having a move like agility or Swords Dance might come in handy, or Dragon Dance, but I don't know. Like I said, a lot of times I like to keep the playthrough simple and not really worry about stat moves, and just kind of go straight for the all-out offensive damaging attacks. I don't think there are any Pokemon that jump out at you in the snow. I think you still have to be in grass. So we should be okay with our not using repels for a bit. Alright, a Sneasel. Is this the first Sneasel we've seen? It might be. Sneasel is a dark and ice type, which means Rock Tomb will be super effective. Waterfall is evenly effective. Ice Beam and Bite are not very effective, so let's use Rock Tomb. There we go. Honestly, Waterfall probably would have knocked it out as well, especially with the Splash Plate. But Sneasel's pretty fast, so it wasn't impossible that we'd be slower, although actually Floatzel's very fast as well, so yeah, I'm not surprised we're faster there. And what is this place? Snowbound Lodge, a warm bed in Little L. So a warm bed sounds really nice, actually. Is there anywhere else that we haven't gone yet? I guess no. I guess you can only go up there once you have rock climb, right? Because I don't see how else to get up there. Just make sure I didn't miss something. Oh no! Well, on the bright side, we can see what Pokemon we can find here. And look, a Sneasel. You see there's Sneasel and Weevil, Snover and Abomasnow. There's got to be more ice types, right? It's hailing. I'm going to use Ice Beam. I feel like it'd be cool just to capture a Sneasel. I'm not going to use it. We already have our full teams. We already have an Ice type and a Dark type in Houndoom, and Ice type in Mamoswine. But it's kind of a rare Pokemon, so I don't think Ice types can be frozen. That would make sense. They couldn't be. Kind of a shame though, because it'd be nice to freeze them and make them easier to catch. Or her. Is this a female Sneasel? I didn't notice. It is a female Sneasel. You know, I probably really shouldn't be bothering with this and wasting my time, because we're not going to use Sneasel for anything, but I don't know. I've never actually trained a Sneasel or a Weevil, so maybe I'll teach them Full Swipe. I wish they could learn like Hypnosis, but they can't. Alright, Tori, one more Ice Beam, then I'll start using... Maybe I'll use a Bite too, because I feel like it's not quite low enough to be caught yet. The trouble is we're slower, so this might actually knock us out. Fury Swipes, yeah. Sorry, Tori, I appreciate it though, and we'll get you some rest at that little lodge down the way. Get you some warm hot chocolate, and you'll be good as new. Alright, not sure who to send out that could do a little bit more damage here. Probably not really anybody, so let's bring out Anna for the Intimidates damage reduction. And then maybe I'll throw a few Pokeballs. I really shouldn't be wasting my Pokeballs as well, because we might need them for something else. Are we still at the start of the encounter? Probably not. We have tons of Pokeballs. Not Water Bug, it's not nighttime. Yeah, not really any good special balls to use there, so let's go with the Great Ball. Come on, Sneasel. And yes, okay, good. I did not want to be here all night catching a Sneasel, so that's nice. Sneasel's data is added to the Pokedex. It feeds on eggs stolen from nests. Its sharply hooked claws rip vulnerable spots on prey. And no nickname, we'll just send him to one of our boxes. Alright, now Sneasel is a good addition to a team if you want an Ice type or a Dark type, or especially if you want both, because that's the only option. Yeah, I guess there's really no way to... We've been down here already, right? I'm gonna use a Repel just to be on the safe side. I feel like we've already been everywhere, but I just want to double check. No, we have not. We have not gone this way. Okay, glad I did. I'm an ace. I can see that you're an ace too. I suppose so, if I had to pick a trainer class. Ace Trainer Blake, another name that seems somehow fitting for an Ace Trainer. And an Ambipom. Wow, I did not expect to see one of them at this stage in the game. Ambipom is also a decent Pokemon. It has a pretty good moveset, but I don't think it has the special attack to really use them. Like, it can learn, like, Thunderbolt and Ice Beam, I think. But, it's mainly a physical attacker, so... I've never really been a huge fan of Ambipom, to be honest. It's definitely usable, but just not one of my favorites. Honestly, same with Weevil. A lot of people love Weevil, and it is definitely a very cool looking Pokemon. But I guess my problem with Weevil is twofold. One, it's a little bit frail, which is not a deal breaker. Like Infernape, Lucario are also pretty frail. Oh, hey, there you go. Was that a U-turn? I missed the actual move, but there are a few moves that allow it to switch out. And Kadabra, okay, another cool Pokemon. We will use X-Scissor, our new move, because it is, as you can see, super effective. Bug type is good against psychic types. And what was I saying? Just like that, I lost my train of thought. I feel like I'm getting old. So move types, Ambipom. Oh yeah, Sneasel, that's what it was. The other thing I don't like about Weevil as much is that in the olden days, like in Gen 4 when it debuted, it really didn't have very good stab attacks. It could learn like Ice Punch and maybe Crunch. I think it could probably learn Crunch. So its most powerful moves were, you know, base 75 and base 80, compared to like, you know, Infernape can learn Flare Blitz and Close Combat, which are both base 120, which yes have drawbacks as opposed to Crunch and Ice Punch, which have like positive side effects as opposed to, or secondary effects, I guess is the right term. I don't know why I'm not running through the grass. We have a repel. Oh, I think we ended up the same place. Okay, well, at least we face one more trainer then. Let's heal up and press on. But that's kind of the trade-off you get. If you use weaker moves, you get positive secondary effects. If you use stronger moves, you usually get negative secondary effects. Alright, well, I feel weird sleeping when there are people like around me that aren't sleeping. But, I guess I am tired after all this trekking. I also probably should get some real sleep after this episode. I don't have thick fat like Pokemon, so I bundle up. Yeah, thick fat is a cool ability. I know Snorlax has it, Walrein, a few others. It has the damage from ice and fire attacks, which makes sense. Alright, another battle here. These have been pretty cool battles. Again, no pun intended. Because these trainers are starting to have some pretty strong and interesting Pokemon. But yeah, I will say that now that there are a lot more moves in the game, it seems like there are maybe a few better options for Weevil. I haven't really looked into it, so if you want to train a Weevil, like, I could definitely see them being a valid addition to any team. Alright, so Mr. Mime is Psychic and Fairy type. As you can tell, all of our moves are evenly effective. One thing I've kind of noticed that it's a very nebulous concept, so I really don't have too much insight about it, but it seems like there's almost 2 or even 3 rough groupings of types when it comes to Pokemon. I haven't put too much thought into this. This is just a theory I'm kind of making up as I go along. But there's like the elemental types, you know, rock. There's not rocked. I guess rock is an element, but not part of my theory here. Basically the starter types. There's water, grass, fire, electric. I would also include ice in that. There's sort of the more like physical moves like fighting and rock and steel and ground. Maybe bug I'd throw in there as well, I think. And then there's sort of the let's use an ice beam to finish him off. There's sort of the like ethereal types, which are like psychic, ghost, dark, fairy. I don't really know where dragon fits. Dragon's kind of doesn't really fit anywhere. Trying to think if there are any other types that wouldn't fit into one of my categories. Like I said, bug's a little bit iffy. Normal is kind of a default. I guess normal and dragon being the kind of the default. Well, normal is kind of default, and then dragon's sort of like the. At one point, it was like the ultimate attacking type. Not sure that's as true anymore now that they introduced fairy types, but still a very good. It's almost like normal types in a way, in that there aren't a ton of Pokemon that are immune or resist it. Only steel and fairy types. Just like there aren't a ton of Pokemon that resist normal attacks, but there are Steel, Rock, and Ghost types. And it's not super effective against much. Normal attacks are super effective against nobody. Dragon attacks are super effective against other dragon types, so they do have some similarities in a way. They're sort of the NA types, but let's see, okay. I'm going to go through the gym leaders. I always remember the types because I remember the Johto and Kanto gym leaders, plus Dark and Fairy. There's the only two that are not gym leaders in those two gens. So, if you're ever trying to remember all the different types, that's an easy mnemonic to use, if you played the older games like I did. And if you haven't played the older games, then I invite you to check out my Pokemon Red Let's Play, or my Pokemon Heart Gold Let's Play, which I recommend in general too, even if you have played those games, because they were both very, very fun. Nice, we knocked out Raichu before it had a chance to attack, which is good because Tori is weak to electricity, so well done, Tori. Alright, so Rock we did, Water is Elemental, Electric is Elemental, Grass is Elemental. Poison is kind of a weird one too, I'll give you that. Poison might kind of go in the physical group, yeah, for lack of a better word, the physical group. But it is a little bit iffy. It's kind of like Bug in that regard. Psychic is in the sort of ethereal group. Fire is elemental. Ground is physical. Normal is sort of none of the above. We said that. Bug I mentioned. Flying I think is also physical. Fire Spin. No, we don't want Fire Spin. Physical is kind of cheating too because in the olden days, Gen 1 through 3, whether a move was physical or special was based on its type, which was, you know, it was okay, but I'm glad they made the change because it was really unfortunate for Pokemon like, I don't know, Dragonite might be a bad example, but Dragonite couldn't really use Dragon attacks as effectively in the earlier generations. One, because there really wasn't any good Dragon type attack. I guess Outrage, but it was lower base power. It was base power 90 back then. And there was Dragon Breath, which was like base power 60. So, not great either. So normally Dragonites did not know Dragon type attacks for that reason. But it also used Dragonite's lower special attack stat, not its very, very high attack stat. So it's really nice when they switched moves like Outrage to being physical attacks, and they added Dragon Claw for the same reason, that you have a lot more options that way. You can really play to a Pokemon's strengths, which I appreciate. Also, Dragonite could not learn any flying moves early on in the games, which was not helpful either. I think it could learn Fly maybe in Yellow, but they added it more in like, definitely by Heart Gold or Gold and Silver. Alright, let's bring out Wind just for like one battle here. Might be fun to use a Fire type here in this icy area. Is this another Ninja Boy? It is! They really are all over the place here. You got a good eye spotting me, thank you. I do tend to have good eyes, actually, knock on wood, but I'm lucky that I don't have glasses or I do have glasses, but I don't really need them too much unless I'm really like reading something at a distance. I needed them a little bit in college when I was like sitting in the very back of the lecture hall, but overall, not too much. Yeah, we really haven't had too much of a chance to use Wind since he evolved into Infernape, which is unfortunate because I really love Infernape. Like I said, probably one of my top 10 Pokemon, at least top 15. It's just like he's got like a lot of energy, like a lot of like momentum, like kinetic energy. He seems like a Pokemon that could attack you, from the physical side, from the shoot fire at you with Flamethrower. Like, let's use Flamethrower because it's just a Zubat. I don't want to miss again. He's just a really awesome design Pokemon with a huge move pool, a lot of diversity in terms of what he can do. Was definitely a very often used Pokemon in Gen 4 competitive battling. Less so now because he's just flimsy and there's a lot of like more powerful legendaries, unfortunately. But one thing I don't love about the newer generations is that there's just so many legendaries and Ultra Beasts and Tapus, and they're cool Pokemon, but they're not like. I do kind of miss the days when most of the competitive battling was Pokemon like Infernape, Lucario, and Garchomp that were just like really strong regular Pokemon. Hippowdon, and Snorlax, and Starmie, and I could go on and on, but Dragonite. Yeah, anyway, I really just love the design of Infernape. And I think it's based off of, there's a Chinese legend, I can't remember the name, I'm sure one of you guys might know it, but there's a legend of like a creature that's sort of like, I think it's like a prankster, like monkey character. The reason I know about it is because of a different fictional character that's based on the same legend. And when I first saw Infernape, I didn't think of the Chinese legend because I didn't know it. But or is it Japanese? I want to say it's Chinese, but I could be wrong. And that's if you guys ever watch Jackie Chan Adventures, the old cartoon, which is I love that show on Saturday mornings. That and Shaolin Showdown were two of my like favorite Saturday morning cartoons, and Pokemon obviously. And there were other good ones too. There was like Static Shock and Teen Titans and lots of good Saturday morning cartoons when I was a kid. But Jackie Chan Adventures, that and Shaolin Showdown were like my top two. I love those two cartoons so much. And in Jackie Chan Adventures, there was like I think it was like a one-off episode, or might have been like 2 episodes he appeared in, but there was a character called the Monkey King, and it was like a puppet that when you like pulled in his leg, he became or like released this ancient spirit jackal creature thing, who looked a lot like Infernape actually. So when I first saw Infernape, I was like, oh, it's based on like the Monkey King, and I didn't realize they're actually both based on the same legend, but. That's what Infernape always reminds me of, and it's just, I don't know, it's a really cool Pokemon. I really, if I ever had like a Pokemon team in real life, I think I'd have to have an Infernape. Although, Infernape is actually not my favorite fire type. I think he's my favorite fighting type. But my favorite fire type has to be Arcanine. Or Arcanine, however you want to say it. I always like saying Arcanine because it just sounds more fancy to me, I guess, more regal. Alright, Flamethrower's not very effective, so we'll go with Close Combat. This is why it's good to have very powerful and diverse stab moves. Ready for any situation. And while it does lower our defenses, if we can move fast and knock them out before we get attacked, it really doesn't matter. Yeah, close combat is definitely a move we will keep with us till the end of the game. And one more Slither. That's what I should do. I should make a list sometimes of what my favorite Pokemon are of each type. Because yeah, Arcanine is definitely my favorite fire type. One of my top favorite Pokemon, maybe top 5. But Infernape I would say is my favorite fighting type. I'll have to do that for fun just to see what it comes out to be. Say Togekiss is my favorite. Fairy type. Water's hard because there's a lot of cool water types. Swampert, Blastoise, Melodic, Gyarados. There's just a lot of really cool water type Pokemon. Like Blastoise always had a special place in my heart because it was the first Pokemon I ever trained, and just like the Blastoise on the cover art, like the old like Gen 1 sprite, was just such like fierce looking Pokemon. I really love Blastoise's design. Swampert is a great design too. Melodic, that's a hard one, but I'll think about that. Anyway, I think we've done a little bit of or enough trampling around in the snow for now. As you can see, we're actually almost at our destination. We've got a little bit more to go, a few more trainers to face, and then we'll make it to Lake Acuity. Hopefully we can get there in time to save Barry if he needs saving. And I think we get to face Team Galactic there as well. Not 100% sure. It's my memory is a little bit snowy, you could say. But either way, I think the 7th gym is coming up pretty soon, so we should have a lot of fun battles in store with our team here. So I'm going to say goodnight, though. I'm going to get some sleep. I should have some time to play tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to that. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. See you again soon.